What an idiot. I was muted and I'm like, hey, can you hear me? Idiot. Just let me know if you can hear. I mean, it says it's working, but in my last one, I had the wrong microphone on. That's why the sound was weird. I figured it out after it was over. But I'm running a little behind because Andrew's live stream is gone. Hang on one sec. I'll be right back. Okay. He said he was going to leave it up, and I believe he had all intentions on leaving it up. So I don't know what happened. I don't know if YouTube took it down or I don't know. I don't know if it, I know he puts his videos behind a paywall. I don't even know how to get to that. And even if I could, I can't pay to get the video. So next time he does one of those, I will make sure that I copy it or record it that night so we can go over it the next day. Luckily, I did watch it again last night and I took a bunch of notes. So plan B, we're going to go over the notes, and then I pulled part of the video. Well, it was part of the live that when Gary had Andrew on, Andrew cut a specific piece out and posted it on his channel. And it's basically about, like, the title is The Candace Debate Revealed Something Much Bigger, featuring Paramount Tactical. And I think it's the part where they go over that the conspiracy is like a psyop, you know. Basically what Andrew was saying last night, that the whole Charlie Kirk conspiracy is to divide the right. That, like, that's the whole point. So that's what we're gonna do, because I mean, Andrew, he was live for like 4 hours, but he didn't actually get into the actual substance of the video until about 45 minutes in. It was really like there was only really like an hour of that video I needed. And everywhere, I mean, I searched. The only person who actually streamed it last night was somebody who doesn't like Andrew, and he pauses it constantly to talk crap about Andrew, so we wouldn't have been able really to watch it very well. So, like I said, we're going to have to go with plan B. It's all good. So, how's everybody doing? Waffles, what's up? What's up, Samurai, CC? I don't know if Max stayed around, but Mackenzie, I hope you feel better. I'm sorry you're not feeling well. Yeah, the only videos, I searched a bunch of different search terms, like, you know, Andrew releases text, the drip drip title. The only videos that I can find are videos of haters saying that Andrew was lying. Like, there are basically there may be, but YouTube isn't showing them. There isn't any videos of anybody like me who is trying to spread the information in a positive way, you know, saying that Andrew was, you know, calling something out. And what he's calling out is that all of these conspiracy people are aligning with people on the left, which basically just look at who has Candace had on her show lately. Hunter Biden, Anna Kasparian, and then Anna Kasparian has on Candace, and basically Anna tells Candace, like, oh, you're so brave for what you're doing, keep going, girl, you know, like, so now Anna's all into the conspiracies. And this, Andrew showed this in his video last night, was how Anna a few months ago said that she understood Erica Kirk's grief and why Erica would be upset. And now Anna's like with Candace and with the conspiracies. So Anna did a complete flip-flop. So, hey, Patrina. So it's like these people, they see it, these leftists, because Anna is definitely a leftist. She's a progressive. You know, she thinks that housing is a human right, that we're just, I guess the government is just supposed to build houses for everybody. Someone claims he's a politically homeless. Yeah, politically homeless, and then interviews Hunter. Okay, yeah. He's not politically homeless. I think Valhalla is a leftist. He just doesn't want to admit it, because leftist dudes are like beta boys, and he wants to be a tough guy. So, you know, like, what tough guys are on the left? I can't think of any. I mean, none. But what was I saying? But yeah, Anna and these people, yeah, shoot. Okay, so Anna was saying that housing is a human right, that California doesn't have strict rules on camping, so that's going to attract more homeless people, and that, you know, they should do something about it. Basically what she's saying is that I guess the government is just supposed to build everybody a house. So basically you can just decide to not work, not do anything, never contribute anything to society, and then the government is going to build you a house and I guess pay for your food. I mean, how does that work if the government supplies everybody's? I mean, that would be socialist. But let's just think about, let's just try and work out her theory that housing is a government, or housing is a human right, and like the government should provide it. Who pays for like the electric and that? And are you restricted on how much electricity you can use? See, and that therein lies the problem. If the government owns your house and the government is supplying the electricity, what is to stop said government from turning off that electricity? And then what are you going to do about it? You can't. There's nothing you can do. It's the government. Yeah, exactly, C-Star. Like, if the government decides, oh, well, you used too much water this month, we're going to turn it off. Oh, well, no, you get no more water until they decide to turn it back on. And that is the whole problem. Because besides covering the Candace stuff, you know, I also do mod on Pop and Politics, where we cover politics, And we already have several self-proclaimed socialists in office. One of them is mayor of one of America's largest cities. New York City is run by a self-proclaimed socialist. Not only is he a socialist, he's an Islamist. I mean, we really do have a country to save, and these people just are not, they are not getting the memo. Like, you know what I mean? It's very frustrating. And the third party crap, it takes a long time to start a new party, and trying to make a third party is just going to ensure that the Democrats win. That's all that's going to do. Because what they're doing right now is dividing the right. So the right gets divided. People get blackpilled. They don't go to the midterms. They don't vote. Democrats win. Democrats take back the House and the Senate. And then the rest of Donald Trump's presidency is going to be pointless. He with the slight majority that we have now, Trump has barely been able to get any of his stuff passed. Almost everything he did was through executive order. So if we get a Democrat president in 2028, the first thing they're going to do is undo everything Trump did. So anyway, that is the problem with the leftists. The leftists are, and the Democrats are socialists, and they are trying to turn the socialists work with the Islamists. They all work together, even though they're basically at odds, because obviously Islam is not cool with a lot of the leftist ideology. They will work together until they get to where they want to be. And then, like, if the Islam people get to the point where they have enough power, they will, and they're already trying, and they do have it in some places, they're implementing Sharia law inside of the United States, which is bad. Very, very bad. So, like I said, Andrew's live is gone, so I can't play it up on the screen. I have the text that he showed, which I don't think any of us were surprised by this, because we all knew it was the left and that Charlie was afraid of the left. And it was even mentioned, I believe, right after Charlie's assassination, when the whole stuff about the text messages or whatever messages came out, that the messages said, the left is going to kill me. And then Candace switched it to, they are going to kill me. And even when Charlie said they, I'm pretty sure he meant the left, not Israel or whatever. Just like Andrew said, this text, the one that he showed, is a day after the WhatsApp, the WhatsApp group, the one line. That WhatsApp group was called, it was similar, I think it was called Saving Civilization. And it was the WhatsApp group that had the rabbi and Josh Hammer. Basically, that was Charlie's, like, Israel Jewish WhatsApp group. So if Charlie is going to his Jewish friends and his political rabbi, because it wasn't his rabbi like that, if he's going to that group to vent about the Jews, honestly, obviously, he has not given up on the Jews or Israel. Because if he did, if that was his intent, why do you go to the WhatsApp group that's full of Jewish people and a rabbi? If you're really done with, like, hey, Alita, if you're really done with Israel and the Jews. You're done. You go to the WhatsApp group that's full of Jewish people. I mean, Charlie knew a lot of people. He could have went to any group to vent about that, but he specifically went to the group that was full of Jewish people. Not all of them are Jewish, because I believe Andrew Colvett was in there and there was a couple other people, but he specifically went to the majority Jewish group to complain about Jews. I mean, it makes sense when you think about it logically. From our perspective, when you're not trying to say that Charlie was giving up on Israel, it completely makes sense of why he went to that group. Because he's basically saying, because these are the people that were helping him field the Israel backlash that's going on, it totally makes sense of why he went to that group. He went to that group because that's the group that could help him deal with that issue of Israel and Jewish people. And by the way, when you run a company that has donors are allowed to not donate. It's a donation. If you put up somebody they don't like, they're allowed to take away their donation. That's just the nature of it. All right, so in Andrew's video, or his live stream last night, he showed a clip of Marjorie Taylor Greene. I forget who was interviewing her, but she was saying, I guess, and she had tweeted that Trump, or that she has a source that she's not going to name, that told her that there was discussions of nukes being used in Iran. And she was like, remember, I was in Congress for 5 years. Being in Congress for 5 years really doesn't mean much of crap. You have to be reelected every 2 years. And they spend about 1 year out of every 2 years that they're there, they spend like 1 year of it campaigning. And they don't even work all year. So being in Congress for 5 years isn't really a flex. She really just stayed there long enough to get her lifelong pension so she can be a welfare baby for life now off the American government. And, most of us know that she made like $20 million magically. All of a sudden, she became really good at stock trading once she was in Congress. $20 million she made in those 5 years. All right. So anyway, she was saying that there was talks of nukes that were going to be used. She wouldn't give up her source. So there is no proof to that whatsoever. It's probably just her talking out of her behind. And Marjorie Taylor Greene is in the loop of this sphere of conspiracy people, leftists, and supposedly people that are on the right, because Marjorie Taylor Greene is supposed to be a Republican, but she herself said that the Republican Party needs to be burned to the ground and like rebuilt. So Andrew's video started out with Stu Peters and Jimmy Dore, which Stu Peters, I believe, is supposed to be on the right, but Jimmy Dore is a lefty. Then we went to Marjorie Taylor Greene and Anna Kasparian, which we kind of already went over, Anna. And then he was talking about Valhalla, and how Valhalla is like buddy-buddy with Jake Shields. I don't really know a lot about Jake Shields, and I didn't take a bunch of notes on him. Remember, I had planned on actually having Andrew's live up to back me up here. So I'm kind of just winging it off my notes and what I remember. But when you go on X, all of these people are retweeting each other, or reposting each other. Marjorie Taylor Greene or Stu Peters reposts MTG, MTG reposts Stu Peters, they all repost Candace Owens, and then, you know, it trickles down. We know how the Candace orbit works. Like, Candace is at the top, and then you got like Baron Coleman, and then it just goes down, 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 and there's like, I actually saw somebody make a video, and it actually had like all of the creators that are just, every time Candace makes a video, it like spider webs out to like all of these YouTube channels, and then all of these X accounts, and then by the end it is just an entire network where it just spreads across the internet, which makes it seem like there's a lot more people on that side than there really is. And that's what I did get kind of frustrated when I was looking up videos on Andrew's live last night. Like, nobody on the truth-telling side has like made a video about Andrew's live. Like, nobody covered it last night. Nobody like literally, I mean, nobody. I'm not like bashing the people we watch. I'm talking about, like, I went into the search of YouTube to search, you know, Andrew Wilson drops texts, and I searched it several different ways, and the only videos that are coming up are ones that are calling him a liar, saying that the texts are fake. There's none that are backing him up and like sounding the alarm that, hello, Houston, we have a problem. These people are trying to destroy our country. You know, I've been saying it. I think a lot of you guys see it. This thing has always been way bigger than Candace. And I think Candace has always been on the left. She just became conservative because it was profitable to be black and be conservative at that time. Because what has she ever done that's actually conservative? Nothing. She got married and had babies, but she's maintained her, you know, boss babe career thing the entire time. When she has a baby, she doesn't even really take that much time off. She takes like a month and then she's back to making videos. So she's not really, and then she writes a book called Make 'em a Sandwich, and she's not really following that herself. I mean, if she's really putting in the amount of hours that you would need to do her investigation, you know, because it's not like she just jumps in her chair and sits there for an hour. All that information has to be compiled and put together. I mean, yes, she has a team, but then she's also posting on X, on Instagram, and on TikTok. So seems to me like she works a hell of a lot more than even Erica does. And she's always telling Erica that Erica needs to go home to her children. Okay, let's see. All right, and then we came to a point where Anna was, okay, it was when Anna was debating Destiny. That's when she sided with Erica over the whole grief thing. And Erica and Turning Point have been accused of using Erica's grief, using the grieving widow as a shield, so they don't have to answer questions, so they don't have to be held accountable. That's not true. Nobody from Turning Point, nor Erica herself, has ever said that you can't ask the grieving widow questions. That whole thing was spun on the Candace Owens show. She's the one who said, Oh, we can't ask the grieving widow questions. Oh, we can't ask questions. Literally, no one has ever told them they can't ask questions. They have been told to stop accusing people of murder without evidence. That is what we have said. That is what has always been said. No one has ever said that they can't ask questions. But at times, their questions are getting a bit ridiculous. And Candace and others are not entitled to know like every single detail of Erica's life. Like, Erica does not have to give Candace like alibis for like, oh, where were you on this date and where were you on this date? I mean, Erica like just lost her husband. Turning Point lost their CEO. If anything, their lack of coordination and all the stupid crap that they said just shows that they were totally not prepared to lose Charlie. To me, anyway. When you look at it logically, it just doesn't make sense. Why would they get rid of Charlie when Charlie was the guy holding it all together? Let's see. And then what else did Andrew talk about? Yeah, because Anna went on Tucker. And when Anna Kasparian was on Tucker, she was trying to say, like, oh, because a lot of what Andrew was trying to say last night was what these people are trying to push is the uniparty. There is no difference between the left and the right bullcrap, which is complete bullcrap. There is a difference between the left and the right. You can say that all the politicians are evil and they're all corrupt or whatever, so be it, and that's probably true. But the left and the right are not the same. Definitely not anymore. And not when the left wants to pass legislation and have laws where you can have abortions basically up until the day that you give birth and have open borders. And like I was saying in the beginning, basically the left is trying to turn our country into a socialist shithole, and the right is the conservatives are trying to conserve our traditional American values of getting married and having families, keeping our constitutional rights like free speech and the Second Amendment, which is very important. Any politician that ever comes around talking about taking away guns is bad. Like, personally, I don't even own one. Just not because I don't want to. I just never have. But I don't want the Second Amendment to go anywhere, because that is literally what stops the government from taking over, because they know that people will fight back. And then, let's see, at about an hour and 50 minutes into Andrew's stream, he played an audio of Baron Coleman, and Baron Coleman said that there's some good left-wingers that are in the America First movement, which again goes back to the left is like, okay, the lefties are okay. And I guess the America First movement is okay with the ideology part of the left, I guess. And then at the end is when, of course, he released the texts. So, but the main thing in the end was Andrew said, believe Charlie Kirk. Believe the words that came out of Charlie Kirk's mouth. Charlie Kirk, the night before he was killed, sent a text message to his security saying that he was somewhat worried that the left was going to kill him. The left. Not Israel, not the Jews, not bees, not the Ninja Turtles from the tunnels, not the French Foreign Legion, the left. And he said several times about the purple hair, he called them the purple hair jihadis. He was very, very concerned about the left. I don't have the full screenshot here, but when he contacted the security the night before he died, he said that the threats, I think they are there. It says the threats are higher than ever, you know, and it's really sad to read this knowing what ended up happening the next day, because he knew. And thank God he's not here to see what is happening now, because I think he would be really sad to see his supposed friends and allies or whoever basically trying to destroy the legacy that he built. But this was the video that I was talking about. It is basically, it's a clip from when Gary had Andrew on live. But this is a particular clip that Andrew decided to clip this specific part himself. And he titled it, like you see, "The Candace debate revealed something much bigger," featuring Paramount Tactical. And he posted it on his channel. So Andrew thought this was important enough to actually post on his channel. So I watched the live. It was long though, so I haven't actually watched this video. I believe it's the part where they go into the Candace Owens psyop thingy. So we're gonna watch this. So I can hear.
Do this business, especially if you're going to go after political commentary or whatever it is. And you know, back in like October, November, especially they were like, "You're a traitor." I was like, "Oh man, I want to find this guy." I'd spend 3 days looking up this person. Now, like I get talked about on Candace Owens almost daily. I just had a genuine Russian assets propagandist, anti-American propagandist, pro-Russian, pro-Putin propagandist go on Tucker Carlson and just slander the crap out of me. And it's just like, you know, now it's just a Thursday. And, you know, you just like, what are you going to do? You're going to quit? You're going to make them let you quit?
No, you make them make you tons of money. Duh. Like if you're gonna run down my good Wilson name, I might as well make a fortune reacting and messing with you. I mean, right? Doesn't that seem fair? No. I mean, it seems totally fair to me. If you're going to take your time to attack me, then I might as well make a ton of money off of your stupidity. That's the way I feel about it.
I completely
saying,
agree.
So I know it's a very pragmatic approach, but it's like, well, if you're going to try to run me through the muck, I'm going to have a lot of fun at your expense. So I'm just saying.
Nope, 100%. Speaking of which, I do have a couple of super chats, and some of these people are wanting. And I know you get like little $5 super chats. Over here, we're big money. We're big money. Hold on, not that one. No.
That's my favorite one. No soup for Knowles.
Right here.
She's my biggest fan. She's my biggest fan, by the way. She loves me. She told me in DM, she was like, "You are so great, Andrew. You're not a misogynistic at all. In fact, you're so nice to women, and I just adore you." And I was like, you shouldn't have no soup for Knowles. That's such a nice thing to say. And she was like, "I know, I'm a really sweet person. I swear I promise that's what happened. You believe me, right?"
100%.
Yeah,
no,
100%.
Britta is great. She definitely doesn't like you, but God bless her. Patriot Lady says, it's clear Candace Owens seeks validation through gobs of money and millions of followers, even if they are fake. Due to moral failing, she will do and say anything to get it. A reckless, insatiable desire for vengeance and her love of money and power are the roots of her evils, allegedly.
You know, I think people really get this wrong as far as motivation goes, which is why I generally think you shouldn't speak to motivation, because it's very difficult unless you have a significant interpersonal relationship with a person to actually speak to their motivations about things. It's actually difficult to do, especially when they're doing things like streaming or their TV personality or things like this. You can misunderstand various things very quickly because you're not part of their interpersonal dynamic. I think what actually is happening more than anything is that imagine that you have the ability to just crush anybody you want whenever you want, and it's justified. Just imagine that. Like, it's just always justified to just close your fist and this person's completely annihilated. Well, that's the kind of power that is in this person's hand at the moment. And it's not even a matter of whether you use it responsibly, not using it whatever, right? The fact of the matter is that creates a kind of a powerful centralized entity which can just go, well, I'm justified in doing bad thing. Here's bad thing. You are now crushed. That type of thing can be very intoxicating for people. And I'm not sure that it's a matter of vengeance. I'm not sure if it's a matter of evil doing. I fully believe that Candace Owens believes that she's completely justified in what it is that she does and thinks she's doing a great service for all of humanity. She believes that she's a warrior on the front line of truth and that she's doing everything she can possibly do for that. And ultimately, the ends justify the means. The case the entire time. So what? As long as we get to the truth, the lies were then justified. Everything is justified through the prism of, I'm running an investigation. If you need to be doxxed, your family needs to be doxxed. You need to go away. You become a problem for this investigation. You yourself become part of the investigation, whether you like it or not. And so whether that's even intentional or not is very difficult to say. But it is, in fact, the case that is what's happening. And that's so from my perspective, it's like, I'm not sure what makes her tick, and neither are any of you. And I don't think you should even particularly speculate on what's making them tick, only what is actually factually happening, regardless of why or whatever the psychology is behind it. That is indeed what's happening currently.
Yeah. I mean, trying to figure out motivations is always an exercise in futility. The thing that I look at or try to talk to my audience about is like, you got to look at the trajectory of what they're doing and what they're saying. And it's like, okay, I don't care what your motivation is. This is where we're headed. This is where you're taking the country.
That's what I get for muting my mic. That's why I usually don't mute it. Okay, what did I say? I think I said goodnight to Patrina, and I said, don't worry about it, Gil. And I was just saying that I just figured I would throw the link down there because the stream got a little bit derailed because Andrew's live from last night is no longer up. So I was kind of just recapping it by memory, luckily I watched it again. So I had some notes and I remember more of it because I watched it twice. But yeah, it's a little harder when you don't have the live stream at all anymore. So I pulled this video. This video isn't exactly, hi Ashley. This video isn't exactly what I thought it was, but it's pretty interesting.
And one of the big issues that I have with Candace is that she really has, like, she has completely undermined the idea of critical thinking in general. And the level at which that has happened, the amount of people and Americans that she has exposed for being just so damn gullible is pretty shocking to me.
Do you think that, it's funny. When I try to think about these things at scale. So at scale, you and I are very, very small fish, right? You could be a huge social media star and still be a very, very small fish in the, kind of larger scheme of things.
Yeah, sure.
So I get recognized basically everywhere I go. That's true. But people aren't running over like they would Johnny Depp to just like take a piece of me so that they have it as a souvenir. Right? It's all scalable. And so when I kind of take the bird's eye view, I recognize that it is true that Owens has, 50, 60, 70,000 nightly viewers, but she's not the only one. It depends on what you're looking at and which field you're looking in. When it comes to this kind of like drama stuff, yeah, she gets high in arena. But the internet's a much wider place than people think. And there's other channels I can point to that have hundreds of thousands of live viewers. Right. And this is in fact the case. So it's interesting when you look at the scalability of it, you realize, is it really the case that most Americans are gullible to this? Or is it really the case that most Americans don't give a shit? They just don't care. They think, well, who cares? They don't care about it, right? They get up in the morning, they get their coffee, and away they go. And it's interesting because when I look at the online field versus Main Street, if you were to believe X, every single Republican that Trump nominated to be elected, they should have lost their primaries. And all of them won, in fact, all of their primaries. So the reflection from Main Street to online politics doesn't always carry over, though it does sometimes carry over, right? And there is at least some influence there for sure. And so I just think it's interesting. It's like, I'm not willing to throw the American people under the bus or say that most of them are stupid or most of them fall for conspiracies or things like this. I think ultimately that's actually not the case. I think that the people who are drawn to that, they look for it, just like people who are drawn to like only and corn and things like that. They go looking for that stuff, right? There's no doubt that people go looking for conspiracy style content. I do myself. There's a great show, for instance, called The Y-Files. I watch all the time.
Yeah,
I think it's a great show. It's fantastic. And I went looking for that content because when I do long drives, I like to listen to it. I think it's fun, right? I just think it's fun. But that doesn't mean I'm going to eliminate all rationality either, right? So I don't actually know that it's much of a reflection of Main Street America. I don't know. And the amount of DMs I've gotten from people who are the like quote quiet observers, these are the people who you never see comment, the people who really don't say much. Got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them who were like, what is this chick you were just talking to? Is she stupid or something? It's like they didn't even get it. They were just like, what? Why is this a major thing? She just sounds like an idiot. She just, she's not telling you anything. She's super evasive. What's even going on here? So I'm not sure, right? Like I'm not to the point where I can parse out exactly how much overlap there really is.
Yeah, no, look, I've mentioned many times, I think her real support is less than 1% of the population ultimately. And, one of the things I talked about regularly, like there is a huge delta between the perceptions created on X especially versus reality. And we saw that with Thomas Massey. Like if you'd been looking at X, Thomas Massey was just going to crush many other candidates. Here we have Bilzerian, who were some of the other ones down there, Fishback, like, and of course they were just they lost, they were losers, right? I mean, big time, or as Trump would say, bigly.
Yes, Gil, that is true. I don't know how much I got into that, but that is also part of the whole America First, leftist, uniparty crap is the Israel Jew-spurging crap. That is something else. I'm glad you reminded me that Andrew went over. And Andrew is not a huge fan of Israel at all. He's not a Zionist at all. And even he can see that a big part of this coalition that's being built between the conspiracy people, the woke right, whatever you want to call them, and the left, this coalition that they have built to divide the right as we know it, the party that they want to arise from the ashes is going to be an anti-Israel isolationist party. And that's not really good for the country as a whole. I mean, you could take the Israel subject on its own. I think there is very good reasons for us to have Israel as an ally, personally. But we can't be isolationists. Like, if we aren't the superpower, someone else is going to step in and take that. If we aren't Israel's ally, somebody has to be their ally. So somebody else would just take our spot, and then they would benefit from all the tech and everything else that we get from Israel. It's like, I don't understand what these people don't. I mean, I am not like a geopolitics expert, not even close. Like, I know like the bare minimum as far as like global politics, but even I can see that being like an isolationist and stuff is not good for the American country, for our country. It's all right, Gil. We'll do it one night, and we can talk. We can, if you want, we can make that the topic of what we talk about. Of course, I will still have you.
But yeah, no, that is true. I guess I was taken aback, and maybe it's just out of naivete, and I still am to some extent, at how many people will defend this. And there again, you know, it's like,
how many of them are even real, though?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, 100%. But there is a push to, even in the last, I don't know, 50 plus years, we've had this moral relativism that has turned into almost to this reality relativism, where it's my truth, my reality. And that's a real danger. And that's how I do think this country is lost. And what I've always said is, I'm not worried about Candace. Candace is just the current mascot for this op, and Tucker Carlson and many others. It's what comes after them, because I think this is just the beta test. It's like, what happens when there's somebody more believable, that is more charismatic, that is
well, what happened after QAnon?
What if you could make a song using only your voice? Let's start with the drums.
Well, I think what happened after QAnon was Candace Owens, and this is definitely a much better op than QAnon.
I don't know. Is it? The QAnon also, if you remember, it took the country by storm. For instance, Lionel Media, he's a QAnon guy. That's where he got his start, right? He got his big breakout following QAnon with the Q updates and the Q tips and, you know, all of the various Q stuff.
The Q drops.
The Q drops. What was interesting about that is that right-wing media basically ignored that for the most part. Left-wing media focused on it, and we just thought it was hilarious, right? Most people on the Main Street thought it was kind of funny. It helped usher in Trump, and Trump very much got ushered in the first time based mostly on memes and the fact that the American public was so pissed off at the establishment, they wanted somebody to go in and basically throw a hand grenade into it. That was what the whole point of Trump's first administration was. Michael Moore pointed this out very astutely, that Trump is a hand grenade for the working class, and his entire job is to go in there and cause as much havoc as possible for our amusement. And that's exactly what he did, right? It was great. But as long as Q was on that side of the memes, we were kind of fine with him. But then what happens when the memes switch over the other direction and the conspiracy switch over the other direction and the left is feeding them? I think that we're seeing a direct effect of the distinction IQ between conservatives and progressives. Progressives do generally have a higher IQ on average than conservatives. A lot of people don't know that, but it is in fact the case. It's part of what makes progressives so crazy, in fact, is because they have higher IQs, and oftentimes that's correlated with mental illness for various reasons, not the least of which being the rejection of God and the idea of nihilism. But we do have a problem there on both Main Street and in the online medium of a lot of our base. Well, not a lot. It's not an overly significant amount, but it's enough, are actually extremely gullible and will fall for a lot. Like, that is a problem, and it is more unique to the right than it is the left. And that is something that we're going to have to contend with at some point.
Yeah, the left is indivisible. Like, they're going to vote blue no matter who. They're more. I don't even, I really have come to believe that voter fraud is much more rampant than any of us really realize. But with that being said, I do believe that there's this
welcome to Gil.
Quiet majority that has always existed. I still believe it.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Right. But for whatever reason, we are definitely not as motivated as politically. And a lot of it's because, again, we're focused on our families, we're focused on our jobs, our careers. We're actually, somebody's got to pay for all the things. So, a lot of it's because, again, that is part of the challenge. And I do think that also, like, we got to get more people like you and other people out there willing to fight online as well. This is
we've been focusing on that for the last 3 years. Right now, right this second as we speak, you will find dozens and dozens of people from the Crucible community who are doing debates all across the internet right this second. They're either doing debates on YouTube, they're doing...
Okay, he's talking about the debate stuff. Since we have Gil on, go ahead. We'll resume our Israel talk, because that's kind of what got you fired up again and got you out.
No. Please, just I'm just here to join you. Keep doing what you want to do. But yeah, I did want to say one point though, which is that I personally, it doesn't bother me that Andrew Wilson is not pro-Israel or pro-Zionist. I personally, I don't think that I would be that pro-Israel if I didn't have family there. Or, my dad grew up. So I don't expect that, that affection. It's great for people that do have it. I'm not, but like for me, I have no particular affection for Paraguay. I don't hate Paraguay. I just don't care that much about it, So it doesn't bother me at all if somebody just chooses not to care and wants, to disentangle themselves. I still think that Andrew Wilson is on my side because he's a truth seeker, and he calls out the Jew hate also because it's irrational, So I'm glad that we're in line on that. But yeah, I don't expect the average American to have the same feelings as I would,
Right, exactly. Like, if you don't have any family there or any connection to the country, why would you necessarily have like a love for it? I mean, but on the same token, Israel is the Holy Land. And if you're a Christian, there are many important sites there. And do we want those sites in the hands of Muslims to where they're not going to let Jews or Christians come in to visit them?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, in that sense, you're right. It's not exactly like Paraguay in that sense. It is the center of, Christian, Jewish history. So, yeah, but I respect people that just want to be disentangled from Israel. Yeah, that doesn't bother me.
Yeah, like I totally understand. Put like the political aspect of the Israel thing. And like I said, geopolitics is not like my expertise whatsoever. But I think we're better off with Israel as an ally. And as far as like APAC, they're not even like in the top 100 of the money that comes into this country from foreign nations. So that whole narrative is just like blown way out of proportion. And that's what the whole Jew spurging is. Like the Jews control the world. Everything is the Jews' fault. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, and that kind of gets to my point about like, example of Paraguay. No, not having particular affection for a country is one thing, but like being passionate about hating the country, that's another thing. So, if you don't care, that's totally cool. But if you go out of your way, just like obsessing about Israel and wanting it destroyed, that's where it's like, okay, now that is a problem with me because I have family there. So,
right.
And when it comes to APAC, I've actually been to one or two of their conferences. It's Americans. It's just Americans, mostly Jewish, but there's Christians that want to have their congressmen or representatives care about the U.S.-Israel relationship. And there's nothing really nefarious there. They don't really have a whole lot of sway, especially nowadays, but they never really did. So yeah, people do blow it out of proportion.
Yeah, and by the way, there are a bunch of other countries that have American PACs, like Turkey. I know Turkey has one. I can't remember the list off the top of my head, but there's a bunch of different strange countries that don't, at least like Israel kind of aligns with us a bit as far as beliefs and being like, a free country, like a democracy or whatever, however you want to word it.
Yeah.
But a lot of these other countries that have American PACs, just like APAC, that are not registered with FARA either, do not align with us as well.
Right. And people should keep in mind that pretty much half the Jews in the world live in Israel and the other half live in America. There's like a few other percentage points scattered around the rest of the world, but it's pretty much half and half. And so, yeah, I mean, most American Jews have affection, but American Jews have fought and died for this country. We've Jews contributed a lot to this country in the sciences and the arts and everything. So I don't think it makes us any less American just to care about another country also. If Israel wasn't under constant attack, I don't think there would be so much of a desire to make it a political issue, so those are my thoughts.
Yeah, actually, one thing that actually goes in with this is something that Andrew touched on was when Marjorie Taylor Greene was talking about, she had a source that told her that Trump or somebody mentioned about using nukes in Iran. And I just happened to write down about how Iran, this last time, during just this last uprising, they killed 40,000 of their own people in 2 days.
Yeah.
And it really wasn't even 2 days. It was more like 10 hours because they went out one day for a few hours, like 5 hours. And then they went out the second day for like 5 hours. So really they killed like all those people like very quickly. And if we go by Hamas's numbers, and say we go by the 80,000 deaths over the whole Gaza thing, 40,000 people in 2 days versus 80,000 over a couple years. And the 80,000 is a genocide, but the 40,000, we get crickets.
Right. Such a good point. And let me just add to that of that 80,000, a lot of them were Hamas fighters, and they also hide behind the civilians. They use the civilians for their PR purposes. So in a way, they even want more civilians to die. I'm of course, any civilian death is tragic. I don't mean to diminish it, but but yeah, I mean, the contrast couldn't be starker. Nobody cares about and that's their own people, which is another point that I feel like kind of gets lost is, I think it's kind of worse when you're killing your own people than when you're killing the other side in a war. I think that says a lot more about the Iranian government. So yeah, thanks for pointing that out.
Yeah, they're killing their own citizens just for basically going out and protesting, which is a right that we have to do, which everybody takes for granted. These people went out, and even after all those people were killed, the Iranians still took to the streets when we were bombing them, and they were actually glad we were bombing them.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just, I find it crazy, because if you are going to say that genocide is bad and you are against genocide, period, no matter who does it, then where is the outcry for these 40,000 Iranians who are mowed down by their own government?
It's a very, very valid point. I agree with you. I think that I don't know if I would even call that a genocide per se, just under the textbook definition.
Yeah,
the only real genocide, or the attempted genocide, was on October 7th, because the goal there was to kill as many or all the Israelis as possible. They just weren't able to. So that's the genocide. Israel was a war. There could be individual acts of war crimes, that might happen. It's a war. But and then what Iran did was just a massacre. I don't know if it qualifies as a genocide, but October 7th was an attempted genocide.
Yeah. And I'm very familiar with I guess it would be the Islamist way of war, where they use women and children, and they hide in hospitals and schools, and they use children as suicide bombers. Back during Obama's administration, I was more involved in politics for a while, and I talked to a lot of, people who had been over there fighting, and they're just, Gaza, like when Hamas was fighting Gaza, would, you know what I mean? When they were fighting Israel, when Israel was fighting them back after October 7th, they were using those same tactics that Afghanistan and Iraq used, where they basically used civilians as shields. They used the hospitals, they used the schools, they hide their soldiers in with the civilians. I mean, how, you know what I mean? Like, how are we supposed to? It's their fault. They're doing it. It's their tactics.
Yeah, and a good analogy is to say, like, if someone shoots at you and your family, and then they hide behind their family, and you shoot back at them, and you hit their family, that's on them. That's 100% their fault. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't try to avoid it, but it's their fault for shooting at you and your family, and it's their fault for hiding behind their family. And you have every right in the US under self-defense, just criminal law, you have every right to shoot back. And you're not to blame for the innocence that they are hiding behind. So I think that analogy is really applicable.
Right. I mean, because our soldiers over there had to be wary of everyone, because the women are in, the full burqas, which a man can easily put on, and then you can't tell if it's a man or a woman coming at you. They would have children with bombs or guns, because they know that Americans have, a soft spot for children. An American soldier is not going to want to shoot a child. Right. So many American soldiers ended up getting killed because they let a child get way too close.
Right.
And it's just really sad that that's the way they treat their children. I mean, they literally kind of raise them that way, to hate everybody but their own, and especially Jews. But after Jews, it's everybody else. So if they did ever get rid of the Jews, they're coming for us next. They don't like any of us. They don't want any of us.
Yeah, I mean, let's not forget. I know Tucker downplays this, but in the Iranian parliament, they chant "Death to America" regularly. I mean, and then they lead the chants down the streets, and this was before the war, So, they're not Americans' friends. Even take Israel out of the equation, it's they have a problem with America even without Israel. So, how anybody could side with them when they're chanting "death to your country," I don't get it.
Yeah, that's what I know. A lot of people are pissed at Trump over the whole Iran thing, but when I saw the people rise up, and if you actually watch YouTubers like Tusi and Goldie, who are Iranian and have family there, and they kind of tell you like what the Iranian people actually think, that's what I was going by. Not, like what people were saying on X. Right. And I didn't really consider Iran to be a new war because Trump has been talking about it literally my whole life. I mean, Milk Bar made a video where Trump started in like 1982 or something talking about Iran all the way up until today. And Iran was very heavily involved when we were over in the Forever Wars. They were a big part of supplying the terrorists that were killing Americans. So it's not like they haven't killed American soldiers. They have.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, I bet if you even like did the analysis, there's probably been less American soldiers killed in this war over the past, 6 months or whatever, if you add it up, then the 6 months previously, or if you divide it up, not 1-to-1 or something, but over time, there's probably been, I think Trump's execution of the war, in other words, I think was good, but his messaging came out really poorly, which I think is a problem. I think that he should have made a better case publicly for the war. He should have kind of laid it out a little bit clearer, and he shouldn't have, said we're going to attack tomorrow. Oh, we're negotiating. Oh, we're going to attack. I get that's his style, but that's my only disagreement is like he could have done some better optics on it.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know what his whole plan is. Personally, I do think he has a plan, but I can't help but feel bad for the civilians over there that were waiting basically for us to kind of save them. And Trump is in a position because he knows if he puts boots on the ground, so many people are going to be pissed. People, like a lot of people have said it. And I don't see how we could totally, I mean, we could arm the Iranians. That has been like tossed up as a possibility. Maybe they could look into that and then they could take back their own country. But I can't help but feel bad. They took a huge risk and a huge loss. And then if they don't end up with the regime change that they want, I feel bad. You know what I mean? I feel bad for them.
I feel bad for them. I agree with you. I mean, I agree with everything you're saying 100%. But it is on the Iranian people at the end of the day. They gotta do it, and it's gonna cost lives. That's how revolutions happen, and that's how you earn your freedom. I mean, it's easy to say, from the comfort of my room. I'm sure it's much harder over there, but yeah, they shouldn't wait for America to save them. I think Trump, kind of indicated that was his plan, but that's another one of his kind of messaging errors. He said, help is on the way, and then kind of played footsie for a while. I think he should have just finished the job back in April, May. It was only a few more weeks. We were already in, but then he stopped, and he negotiated this MOU, which went nowhere. That seems like it was some bad advice by Vance and Witkoff and Kushner. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like now we should just kind of stick it out with the economic blockade. I think that's probably even more effective than the bombing in many ways. And Trump has to secure midterms, because if we lose the midterms, if Republicans lose the midterms, then that's going to be a problem for everybody. So I think that's where his focus needs to be right now.
Yeah, and actually that was kind of the whole point of this stream, is because a lot of the info that Andrew dropped last night during that live was basically showing how the whole Charlie Kirk conspiracy isn't really about Charlie. They're aligning with leftists to divide the right, to either, to destroy the right as we know it, to create their third party, or to just take over the right as we know it and change it. So
and they are using Israel as the lever to split, but yeah. So I did see Andrew dropping the text from Charlie. I'm not sure if it was a text or a telegram, but from the day before his murder, where he said that he's most afraid of the left.
Yeah.
But I didn't hear or see anything else that he dropped yesterday. So
yeah, as far as like receipts, evidence, that was all that he dropped, was the text messages. And let me see. I did have it. Luckily, Mackenzie was quick enough to take pictures while it was on. So the pictures, yeah, way to go, Mackenzie. But yeah, this isn't even a thing, but what he said was like the threats are like higher than ever. And he says, I'm somewhat worried about the left trying to kill me. Yeah, I'm somewhat worried about the left trying to kill me.
And this was the day before. It's much more direct than the WhatsApp message, saying, "Oh, it leaves me no choice." That would have to require a lot more inferences. This is also much more in line with everything he said publicly, which is that he was worried about the left. He was not trying to keep it a secret. He knew that the left was the danger. So either way, I wouldn't say that this is evidence. Like, this is not something that the court would consider as evidence that Tyler Robinson is guilty, but it's useful information. It's much more useful information than anything that Candace has dropped in 11 months of quote unquote investigating. So I think it's useful in terms of showing that the left is the problem and that Candace is a fool.
Yeah, and right after Charlie's assassination, we had the left celebrating they were so happy that Charlie was dead. And there was a unification of the right taking place. And certain people saw that and they had to put a stop to it. And I think that is why the conspiracy stuff has gotten such a big push on social media from the bots. Like, because a lot of the creators may not even realize that. I mean, they should realize it by now, but at first, they may not even realize that their X posts and their YouTube videos or whatever were basically being pushed by bots and botted views that are paid for by foreign countries.
Yeah, well, that's such a good point. But I don't know if you would agree with this, but I feel like Candace, it's like 90% at fault for the whole conspiracy, Charlie Kirk conspiracy. Maybe I'm missing something, but it seems like everyone else kind of played off of her, and she's been like 90% of it. Would you agree, or would you say that there was other?
Yeah, I would say she definitely started it. And I don't think the conspiracy, using the conspiracy was like planned. Candace started, and who knows what her motivation is, because trying to figure out her motivation is just speculative. So she starts the conspiracy, and they see what it's doing and how it's causing this, like tribalism. There's some people that believe it, some people that don't. And then that's when whoever is behind the scenes pushing the content is like, we can use this, like this is something we can use. And that's when she became a useful tool, basically. That's what I think. But yeah, you're right.
And you're right too. I mean, what was it that Russia Today and Al Jazeera played the debate, and I'm sure that they were. I heard that. I didn't see it, but someone told me that they played it on Russia Today and Al Jazeera, or like maybe afterwards. And something tells me that they were not taking Andrew Wilson's side in the debate.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not sure about that actually. I'm just getting my something to drink. And I didn't mean to interrupt your whole flow. You want to keep watching the Paramount?
It was good.
Okay, I'll be right back.
I don't know what, Andrew. We can finish watching this, I guess.
I'm in my PJs. And happy birthday, Angie.
Ads. Sorry, guys. I'm too broke for premium. Oh my goodness. I never switched the screen for the people that are watching. They could hear it, but they couldn't see it.
We still legitimately beat them in all of these arenas. And I do think that's important. But what I don't see on the political commentary side, it's very easy for people because they're moving towards this idea of you need clicks because you have to stay in business, right? So sensationalism for the right is just as necessary as it is for the left. When the left runs these big media promos and the left will say, Donald Trump is going to take away, women's rights and put them back in the kitchen or whatever. It's all sensationalism nonsense, but it brings in the clips. The right-wing news commentary community does the exact same thing in reverse, right? Oh, look at this, Democrats are going to take away your blah, 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 and we're going to cover it tonight at 9. It's like, and then they get to the story and you go, wait a second, none of that's even happening. So the dishonesty transcends the right or the left.
Sure.
And the truth is that the commentary community and the debate kind of community that comes out of social media, both of them are going to have to move towards more honest ways to do business, or else the new media is going to be just as untrusted as the old media.
Yes, exactly. I mean, that was like the original point of the S-Files, was to call out the mainstream media when I originally came up with it in 2024. But by the time I actually got my channel going, I realized that there's more liars on the new media. I mean, so that's where we've been at since the channel started. And no, it was not started to be a Candace channel. Some people say that in the comments once in a while. She just happens to be like the biggest liar at the moment.
I agree. Same thing with my content is I didn't want to just focus on Candace, but she's made the line so clear between what's right and wrong, what's truth and what's a con, that it's just the easiest thing to focus in on.
Yeah, and then like Baron Coleman is also very bad. I mean, the stuff he spews to his audience is not good. I believe that he totally knows what he's doing, and he's doing it for the views and the money more than likely. When this first started, I saw like 2 or 3 small channels, like under 1,000 subscribers. They were getting anywhere from 20 views to a couple hundred views per video. And then Charlie Kirk got assassinated, and they made a video trashing Erica Kirk or trashing Turning Point. And all of a sudden they got 50,000 views, and then their channel, that's what it became.
Yeah.
And I saw so many. It's just like,
it would be so much easier for us to gain a lot more traction if we jumped on the conspiracy bandwagon. Just start blaming Israel for everything, start hating on Erica. I gotta go. But thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, I've been wanting to join you. So keep up the great work.
Thank you, and I'll talk to you later.
Take care.
Bobby Lee. I used to know somebody named Bobby Lee. That's right, Alita. We are almost birthday twins. Mine is September 2nd. And I forget whose birthday. Whoever said they're going to be 45, so am I. So don't feel bad. I'm going to be 45 too. It's all good. It's just a number. And technically on your birthday, you're only a day older than you were like the day before. Yeah, my friend's stepdad was named Bobby Lee. Like his actual name was Bobby Lee. I can't remember his last name. Not that I'm trying to dox him anyway, but yeah, his name was Bobby Lee. So that's funny. It's my kid's birthday Tuesday. Yeah, like September is like I think the most popular birthday month. And I think that's because in order to have a baby like in September, it's like around New Year's Eve. I think a lot of people get busy. They must get busy around that time. Because there's a ton of birthdays at the end of August and the very, very beginning of September. So people must get moved by the spirit in between Christmas and New Year's. And that's why there's so many babies born in August, at the end of August and September. That's funny. But yeah, it's kind of crap that that live wasn't up anymore, because this live would have ended up being a lot better. But it's cool that Gil came on. That gave us something to talk about for a while. We've been trying to set something up, and wouldn't you know it, like it just ended up happening without any planning. And sometimes that's the best way. Like stuff just happens. You know, I set up this whole live and had the post up before I even realized that Andrew's live wasn't up yet. And I was like, oh crap, now what? So this was just like total plan B, like, you know, just wing it. So I did the best that I could without actually having Andrew's live up anymore to back, you know, because there were a few things that he said, and the way that he said them were way better than I could ever say them. You know, like that's why he has so many viewers, because he's really good. Like I'm not that good, but maybe one day. But from now on, whenever he does those streams where he releases the evidence, I'm going to download them that night, so that way if they disappear, we will still have them, because I plan on to get, because he said he has way more evidence to drop. He said that he has evidence that Candace did start planning this whole thing back in September, and he's got the evidence to prove it. So the S-Files is going to keep reporting on whatever Andrew brings out, because the midterms are important to me. This country is important to me. And the Charlie Kirk conspiracy thing, I have always seen it as way bigger than Candace. And that is why I was covering it. Not just because Candace is a liar, but because I just knew that it's bigger than just her. So, oh goodness, 60? Yeah, like to me after 40, like everything fell apart. I don't know what's gonna happen to me by the time I'm 60, so could be scary. But I think I'm pretty much out of stuff. I went through all my notes. I went through the video. We had Gil on. I am so glad everybody came to join. Van Cruz, Megan, Cece. I know Juju B showed up for a little bit. 60's the new 20. To be 20. And Katrina was here earlier, but she, I think, left or went to sleep or something. I know Mackenzie was here, but she wasn't feeling good. IFE, I did see you come in. Hello. Van Cruz, did I get you? My short-term memory is garbage. Long-term memory, good. short-term memory crap. I have to put like Post-its on my forehead. Yeah, my voice. Yeah, I could totally trick people with my voice. Like, they would never guess that I'm like 45. I think sometimes when I call like doctor's offices and stuff, yeah, Megan does kind of, she can sound like she's 7. She can sound like she's a little kid because she does this little kid voice, and she sounds like she's like a kid, like a for real child. The Jubies did it. It's the Jubies. Yeah, sticky notes are awesome. I need to get some more. I had some in here, but my son likes them too. So, you know, if I have to share, like, we already kind of share the desk and the computer. Yeah, I need more sticky notes. Just put sticky notes like everywhere. Did I get the Megan impression good? I was trying. Because I used to be able to do that little voice too, but then I stopped doing it, and I'm not as good at, because believe it or not, my voice used to be worse. Like from, you know, like 30 years of smoking, my voice has actually gotten a little raspier. So it used to be like more high pitched, or not. I don't know. I don't even know if it's high pitched. It's just kind of childlike. Like it's not a very grown up voice. And sometimes with this voice, it's hard to be taken seriously. That's what I was starting to say about, like, when you call places, I think some people don't take me seriously because of what I sound like. And then when I was younger, it was because of what I look like, because I always looked like at least 10 years younger than what I really was. So I'm like 25 or 30 with this voice, and you know, they're thinking I'm like 15 or 20, and they're just like looking at me like, yeah, whatever. Especially if I had to go to like a mechanic or something. And you know, because I actually do have some mechanical knowledge. My boyfriend all through high school was a mechanic, and you know, they would just look at me like, yeah, okay, whatever. I sound youthful. When 18 years old, so sure. Yeah. Oh, you made a bitch voice? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I can do one. But I kind of really have to be mad to like turn that voice on. That's a good one. Here, we'll put it up on the screen. Whenever you find yourself on the side of the majority, it is time to reform or pause and reflect. Mark Twain. Yes, well, the truth-telling side is definitely not the majority. Definitely not on social media. You are definitely not going to get the views or the subscribers that you would if I just came on here and regurgitated, basically just totally repeat what Candace says, like not even really add anything to it, just watch her show, then come on the next day and repeat it. My channel would probably be monetized already. Like I would probably be over 1,000 subs and have the watch hours, but I can't do it. And I also cannot trash a widow. Not just a widow, just an innocent woman. I can't just trash people to make my YouTube channel popular. So I made a Cash App and I signed up for that Buy Me a Coffee thingy. I couldn't figure out how to like pin a link in the comments. I don't know, maybe I can't because I'm on the free version, because I have to use the free version for everything. But anyway, so that's why I had the banner going across the screen. It's in the I think it's in the yes, I did. I put it in the description of the video, and it's in the description of the channel. So maybe, you know, as the channel gets bigger, we'll just be fan supported and never even put ads on. Who knows? We'll see what happens. Thanks, Juju. Thank you, Gil. Yeah, at the end of the day, being a good person is more important than money. I mean, yeah, not having money is stressful, but I have to be able to look at myself in the mirror. I have a teenage son that, you know, I need to be a role model for. And yeah, I just can't go on and like, I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. Just can't. Like, and I've actually thought about it, like, because I was like, you know, I wish I could, but then I was just like, no, you know what? It's in the end, it's better to just be a good person, because besides being a good person, not that I'm perfect, because we are all just sinners asking, you know, the Lord to forgive us. One day we're going to meet the Lord. And can you imagine if you had a YouTube channel and you influenced like hundreds of thousands of people into dark places and away from God? Could you imagine having to answer for that on Judgment Day? Obviously, none of us know what Judgment Day actually looks like, you know, but if that's how it really does work, and we're like showed exactly the effect that we had on the people in our lives, imagine having a platform where you could reach millions of people, and the words that your words had such a ripple effect. I mean, that's a lot. Like the amount of people that somebody with a platform like Candace, or anybody with a platform that size, I think should be very, very conscientious about how they use said platform. Especially her, since she's actually called it God's platform. Oh, yeah, and we didn't even mention, I know you guys know, but she said, you know, she actually told Andrew Colvett that if the wrong people take over, I'm going to burn it to the ground. And then, like, the day before that, on her show, she said, "We are Legion." It's demonic. The only time "We are Legion" is ever used is like in demonic reference. Yes, I'm well aware that the Roman army was called a legion and they were legionnaires. And the anonymous hacker people also in their little thingy said, you know, we are watching, we are Legion. But for the most part, when "We are Legion" is used, it is used in reference to the demonic. I mean, it's even in the movie The Exorcism of Emily Rose, when she's in the barn getting her exorcism, you know, in that creepy demonic voice. She's like, "We are Legion, for we are many." It's creepy. Creepy, creepy. Yeah, betting against God's not a good idea. This is true, Gil. She probably never opened a Bible. She probably doesn't even know that the Roman army was called a legion either, to be fair. I mean, if you really want to be really terrible to Candace, she probably doesn't. But you think she would have at least watched a movie. I mean, because We Are Legion is used in quite a few movies that deal with possession. What time is it? Oh my goodness, it's almost 1 o'clock. So we've been live for 1 hour and 40 minutes. And it is almost 1 o'clock my time. So I will go ahead and let you guys go. Like I started to say before I started rambling. I thought I wasn't that good at talking. I apparently am much better at rambling than I thought. So, but anyways, I am going to go ahead and end this. Thank you all. Yes, we can do the music video, of course. You mean mine, right? The Erica one? Oh, let's do it again. Hold on. Let's see. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, just making sure it actually switched. Here, I will start it from the beginning. I just want to say goodnight before I turn the music video on. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming. I will be back again soon with something. Everybody have a good night. I love you all. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. And I will see you soon. And here we go. Where I can try to make it bigger. I'm going to figure this out one day, but here you guys go.
You move in shadow, silk and smoke, perfume of envy, words that choke, a viper dressed in halo light, selling venom every night. You taste the grief still on her skin, call it truth while you sink your teeth in my grave that isn't yours. Rattle chains and closed doors. You couldn't stand outside his fire. You wanted worship, not desire. Now all that's left is ash and name. So you play God with borrowed flame. You are a demon, a cold-hearted witch. Exploit a widow for clicks. You sharpen your teeth on a headline fix. Exploit a widow for clicks. You couldn't have him when he breathed, so you destroy the love he leaves. You dance on bones and lipstick red, fighting a ghost in a broken bed. You build your throne from shattered dreams, twist everything into a now. Rewrite the past with poison ink. Watch the faithful start to sing. You wanted to be the chosen one, crown of fire, the only sun. But you were orbit, never star, so you wage war from afar. Obsession dressed as righteousness, jealousy in a black silk blouse. You call it justice, call it proof, but it's hunger clawing You are a demon, a cold-hearted witch. Exploit a widow for clicks. You're trading sorrow stitch by stitch. Exploit a widow for clicks. You couldn't break him when he stood, so you desecrate what's good. You whisper lies in candlelight, pray for chaos every night. Did you think the grave would answer you? Did you think the silence would crown you? You scream at a headstone, begging it to speak, but the earth stays loyal to the meek. Love doesn't rot the way you do. It doesn't fade when cut into. It lives in eyes you can't erase, in every line of her face. You are a demon, a cold-hearted witch. Exploit a widow for clicks, feeding your fame with a funeral pitch. Exploit a widow for clicks. You couldn't have him in the light, so you drag his memory through the night. But legacy burns where you can't reach. No curse you cast can bleach the truth you'll never stitch. You are a demon, starving for a crown that never fit. You are a demon, and love is something you'll never get.
Let's see how to convert